Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. One really easy way to support the channel is by leaving a like, hitting the subscribe button, subscribing to the channel, and or leaving a comment or two. It does a lot for Al Gore's rhythm. And without any further ado, let us jump right into it. For whatever reason under the sun, this ended up being one of the most popular news stories out there right now. Back in the olden days, and I mean like 2018, for some reason this was a dramatically hot topic. Back then known as Facebook, or still known as Facebook. I don't call them Meta. It's like, I'm not going to call you. The point is that a number of years ago, after the hotness of Bitcoin became quite apparent in 2017, a number of companies began to add the word blockchain to their companies, which set off a lot of price exploration on a number of stock exchanges around the world as these companies' stock prices began to skyrocket, literally skyrocket, because they added the name blockchain. Around 2018, 2019, we had rumors that a lot of companies were going to start integrating crypto and using crypto. And then out of nowhere, we had news that Facebook was going to be using Bitcoin. This is, like I said, the olden days. The general idea, at least from what we received, is that apparently a lot of high-ranking members of the Facebook company really liked Bitcoin, which told me back then that means that they were definitely buying. A lot of other people threw my ideas away because we saw nothing on chain from them, so therefore these people were of course not into Bitcoin. The other point is that I don't know if it was documents or what, or maybe Zuckerberg came for, I don't know what happened anymore, but someone came forward and they were like, we originally planned on just using Bitcoin. The problem is that Bitcoin is far too slow. It could not handle what we wanted to do. So therefore, we decided to make our own coin. At that point, I began to roll my eyes. And for those of you who were not here or do not remember, the drama that unfolded 24 hours after was quite dramatical, because the way that the story unfolded quite quickly was that a large number of people around the globe, it was not just within the United States, had a lot of trouble with the idea of Facebook having their own digital currency. It wasn't that it was going to be similar to Bitcoin in that it would have fluctuating value. It was meant to be a stable coin. And I think, what was the original name of the coin? It wasn't Metacoin. I know Diem was one of them, like DIEM was one of the names of the coin, but it had another name before all of that ended up taking place. The rumors were, apparently, that we ended up getting was that allegedly, wink, Facebook had been in discussions with a number of countries around the world in an effort to try and get them to actually join on board with their new digital currency that they were planning on launching. The rumors were that these discussions had been going on for a while, and part of the problem is, the U.S. flips out anytime that anyone mentions using anything but the US dollar. The other gigantic issue is that Facebook, in allegedly having spoken to these other countries and multiple companies, were trying in essence to make this the de facto currency of the internet. As Facebook, I believe, has over 1 billion users. And the idea was, according to documents that we heard about in the news, is that if Facebook had created their own digital currency, they would have de facto become the largest bank on the planet overnight, with the potential to have 1 billion people using their coin. As you might have guessed, this is what sent a lot of people around the world into a complete frenzy. It was basically government position holders and politicians and stuff like that, and a lot of people from the U.S. as well. This is why there was a congressional hearing, a senatorial hearing, and Zuckerberg was made into thousands of memes with a lot of people not really understanding the actual implications of what they were trying to do. Because the news was that if they were talking to a number of different countries, it was on a debt basis, i.e., the rumors were that they went to a number of countries who aren't allegedly maybe not doing so well economically. And similar to what China is doing right now, what China is literally doing right now to Africa, is they went to these countries and basically said, we can help you pay off your debt. We can help you build infrastructure. We can make it so that your country looks like these other countries who have high GDPs, but we just ask that you make our currency, Facebook coin, legal currency in some sort of way. Or your government uses it, or it's incorporated heavily into your system. That's why there was also a chart. I don't have it here. You can find it. There were, I believe, initially 30 mega companies who were also onboarded to actually use Facebook coin the moment it would have been launched. The thing is that with Facebook having a marketplace and having these 30 mega companies who were on board, all you as Facebook would need to do is not only tell people that it's active, but also have these companies simply say, hey, we're offering a 15, 20, 25% discount on any ride sharing app that you use. If you go to these supermarkets, you get 25% off. Just use Facebook coin. It would take no more than 6 to 9 months for it to be a worldwide phenomenon, especially as everyone's always looking for a good deal, 15, 25% off on anything that you do. Of course, it would have taken off. So for some reason, or rather, nope, that's definitely the reason, government went completely insane. There were all these hearings for it, and basically Facebook shut down the idea of anything that would have to do with them having a digital coin. I believe they sold off their coin to another company, which I think has also since then gone bankrupt, which is a heck of a thing to have sold. Imagine creating a currency, selling it to someone, and then that company goes bankrupt and all you've done is hyper profit from it. For whatever reason, this has lurched back into the news. I'm not exactly sure why, but it was on nearly every single cryptocurrency news website, and that's where we currently are. Social media giant Facebook apparently has to answer the United States House Financial Services Committee over its plan to integrate cryptocurrencies and blockchain tokens onto their platform, Facebook and Instagram. The news that we got even after they gave up plans for DM, the name of their coin, after they kept on rebranding it. They said that they still have aspirations to integrate cryptocurrencies. It's been told to us for a while that these people, they're in Silicon Valley. You got to, money. That they do like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies a lot. And the idea similar but not quite the same to Twitter payments, as Twitter payments are believed to just be for a while US dollar, euro, yen equivalent payments, that Facebook wants to integrate crypto coins onto their platform, which is even weirder that didn't make larger news than Twitter doing it, which has a falling user base. And I don't really understand how people's minds work. The issue is, committee ranking member, her name is Maxine Waters, sent a letter to Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg and operating chief Javier Olivan, questioning the company's plans regarding digital assets. In a letter sent to the executives on the 22nd of January, the Congresswoman referenced the trademark applications filed by the tech firm on the 18th of March of 2022, stating that the filings appear to represent a continued intention to expand the company's involvement in the digital asset ecosystem, end quote. Waters, who is currently the U.S. representative for California's 43rd Congressional District, said the trademark application shows that the $980 billion company is working on digital assets, despite telling Democratic Financial Services Committee staff on the 12th of October 2023, and I quote, that there is no ongoing digital assets work at Meta. Apparently, this is popular news because it looks like maybe MetaBook is still going to be doing some type of a cryptocurrency integration. I think they would be foolish not to. If we get the idea, what is it? Isn't it Telegram? Telegram has Toncoin. We've heard rumors of other social media apps and platforms also intending to integrate crypto in some sort of way. If Twitter eventually does it over the course of the next year or two with regulatory approval, of course, Facebook is going to try and do the exact same thing. Of course, I'm sure they want their own coin because can you imagine if Facebook had become the largest bank overnight? This is why years ago, I think people didn't know what was going on, why there was so much pushback. And there was so much, I don't care for the term FUD, but like a lot of lies about all these things because they were completely, not that they were blowing it out of proportion, but they were trying to terrify the general public so much of this idea. And it's like, no, they did a really smart move. They were trying to basically have their own digital currency that would have made them excessively wealthy. But yeah, all over the news again. So there will be some kind of a hearing. There will be some kind of a discussion or something about what's going on. I have to sneeze and it's like driving me crazy. Oh, that was terrible. Thank you to anyone out there who said bless you. I can't hear you, but still thank you very much. Yeah. So the news is, I mean, and the timing is also a little weird. It looks like, you know, as we move towards the, what do you call it? As we move towards the halving, you know, that kind of news always ends up coming out forward. So Facebook might be having a thing where they introduce crypto onto their website. I'm sure they're planning on it, but apparently there needs to be another discussion. It's so weird. I don't know. Maybe this is why we also heard people were asking if Amazon was going to be making their own coin, as were a number of other companies. And they all were like, no, like kind of hush hush, but also saying no at the exact same time. So I guess it's because people don't want this. That's the Facebook might be integrating crypto news. Might be. I mean, we'll see by like March. That's usually the, you know, before the halving kind of news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in, sure, Gary, I believe you. So for those of you who don't remember, right before we got the acceptance of the multiple spot Bitcoin ETFs, if you were online, it was a rocky day the day before because the SEC tweeted that the SEC had accepted the Bitcoin ETFs and that they had all been approved. And then like 2 minutes later, the SEC was like, no, that wasn't us. We were hacked. And then apparently we heard news that the SEC was going to do an internal investigation of all these things, which makes no sense. You can't, how do I say this? If a company or a bank does something wrong, an internal investigation is only going to come up negative because why would they snitch on themselves? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. The US SEC has confirmed that a hacker took over their Twitter account through a SIM swap attack that seized control of a cell phone associated with the account. I don't think that's how it works. That allowed the outsider to falsely tweet on the 9th of January that the agency had approved spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds a day before the agency actually did so. They said, and I do quote, access to the phone number occurred via the telecom carrier, not via SEC systems. A spokesperson for the agency said in a statement on Monday, SEC staff have not identified any evidence that the unauthorized party gained access to SEC systems, data, devices, or other social media accounts. The SEC did not identify who the telecom carrier was. Apparently, the agency also had deactivated their multi-factor authentication on the account in July of 2023. Due to issues accessing the account, the spokesperson said, the protection has since been turned back on. It's not that I don't believe them as much as I don't believe them. It is believed, or rather the general consensus from the public is that basically this was a tweet that was going to go out. It probably went out too early. Someone maybe messed up the time, and therefore they're trying to like backtrack and just who knows exactly what really went on. But you can't investigate yourself. Apparently, I think I saw that the FBI got involved. I don't know if it was that deep, but sure, why not? So the joke or the running gag at the moment is that the SEC told people last summer that they should have as much due diligence online when dealing with anything digital, have double factor authentication and email this and all these other like parameters to make sure that people don't get hacked or whatever. And then the SEC deactivated their own things, and then it ended up happening to them that they told other people to take care of. So cool. So I guess we can close the book or the page on this entire discussion as well. I have a feeling it was just a simple slip up, but they're making it seem far more dramatic than it probably actually is. I mean, it was just like an early tweet. They don't have to go completely insane. That's the SEC news. Okie dokie. Let's move on. I think this should be more spoken about. That would be absolutely completely fantastic, actually. Over the course of the last years, we've heard far too many times that cryptocurrencies are only used by criminals. This was disproven a number of times by on-chain analytics companies who literally came forward and they were like, no. There's maybe like a minuscule amount of things that have been going on, but they're not. It's not as serious as people are actually making it out to be. So recently there was something that was done by the NASDAQ where they went over financial crimes around the world, and wouldn't you know it, not a lot of cryptocurrencies there. NASDAQ had a global financial crime report, and apparently it shed some light on the scale of illicit funds flowing through the global financial system, which apparently, according to them, reached a staggering $3 trillion last year alone. While addressing various aspects of financial crime, this comprehensive report notably did not have any mention of cryptocurrencies. That's kind of weird, right? Wouldn't you expect that it had a lot of it, especially since cryptocurrencies are so terrible and only criminals are using them? Notably omitting cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and stablecoins, as conduits for these illicit funds, because for those of you who do not know, the vast majority, if not the all-majority, of financial crimes tends to actually take place with fiat. A lot of criminals have kind of learned that having online transactions ain't so good, as it has a trace, and therefore you do stuff with usually US dollars. There's a lot of documentaries. If you ever get a chance to watch them as well, some of them are very interesting. We spoke about this lightly last summer as well. There's one documentary, I'm sure, anyway, there's one that I saw, but I'm sure there are many on this topic, where they were talking to people in Latin America and people who were like making fake currencies and fake dollars. And they're like, I don't want to use the term genius for something that's illegal, but it was very interesting to see it being done. And they were like, yeah, if you're dealing in stuff, you can't take this money and go to a bank and be like, I'm going to deposit. Oh, for those of you who also don't know, they were saying you can't go and deposit $9,999.99 because even that sets off alarms. In a lot of countries, if you deposit more than 10K, you know, like certain bells will be rung, especially if you do it more than multiple times. But apparently, for those of you who didn't know, it's also illegal to make sure that you go under that number. So if you... I just heard someone suck their teeth. I know. If you deposit $9,999.99, knowing that you're going under the number, this is also some type of an evasion of something. So what have you. So they were saying the way that you do it is you make sure that you just make tons of cash and you use it in various aspects. You find people who will accept it for this or accept it for that or do things, what have you, so on and so forth. But that's usually what ends up happening. A lot of it is in fiat. You do it in the most liquid thing that is also untraceable. So the idea of you using, as we've heard many times before in the news, using crypto for something illegal is usually done by people who don't know how computers work. You think I'm joking. You can find news from 2015, 16, 17, 18, maybe 2019 of physical Bitcoin ATMs, you know, like the things you walk up to, you put cash into. There were numerous stories. I remember laughing. I remember being like, there's no way. Numerous stories of criminals going up to them and smashing the machines open. Now, someone said, why would you do that? Because they thought that there was physical Bitcoin inside of it. So it's usually done by people who don't have a lot in la cabeza kind of thing going on. Most people just tend to use cash around the world. NASDAQ's report points a grim picture of the world's ongoing battle against financial crime. The report estimates that a substantial portion of the illicit funds, approximately, that's a lot of money, $782.9 billion, oh boy, I can't say those words, was connected to, it's like when you're sitting in traffic and then at the end of it you put the word king. And then also, I can't say that either, that was also a lot of money. And then also, can't say those words either. A lot of money went to things that they consider, or rather that are definitely illegal. And apparently an alarming $485 billion was associated with fraud as well. NASDAQ CEO Adina Friedman acknowledged that financial institutions have been at the forefront of addressing these issues for decades. I don't know about that, Adina. A lot of banks are usually the people who are committing these crimes. Did you guys see my videos about 4 days ago? I don't remember what the title is. I can't. If I tried to remember, I'd probably start crying. Whatever one of the videos was a couple of days ago, people found information as to how much just JP Morgan Chase, how much they've paid in fines for having done stuff that was allegedly illegal. And it came out to, it was like $29 billion. It was something literally like it was a double digit, multi-billion dollar kind of thing. And I was like, just imagine like what they have gotten away with that no one knew about. But also like the fine for something tends to be a lot lower than you actually like than the actual crime per se. So I don't think financial institutions have been at the forefront of addressing anything. They're usually the ones who are doing it, because they're the ones who write the laws and make stuff in their favor. So they know that if they just wink, happen to be sitting in traffic and they look over and there's a king, tons of anything, and it's worth like 30 billion, that their fines are only going to be like 200 million. So, However, she underscored the importance of recognizing that no single company can effectively combat financial crime in isolation. And this is why you're seeing so much talk. This is exactly why you're seeing so much talk of countries talking about having stable coins, making stable coins, and or integrating central bank digital currencies as the main way. While you may be told that you should be terrified of central bank digital currencies because you'll be tracked online, everything you already do online is tracked. The addition of central bank digital currencies only actually helps governments in situations for where they deem that people might be evading taxes and or situations like this. Now understand, here's the main takeaway from it. Governments don't really care that a lot of these illicit things are happening. This is not a tinfoil hat moment. I'm telling you this because you're adults. A lot of governments, we found out through history and through documents that became legal for viewing by the public, a lot of governments are usually like the people who do a lot of these things. They make money from them. Watch documentaries about can't say those words. There's a documentary on Netflix. You hang your hat on a rack. Everyone with me? and the third letter of the alphabet is. Now, combine those words together. There's a documentary on that on Netflix, and it is quite intense because in documentary, we find out that maybe there might have been some involvement by multiple governments for the situation back in the 80s and the 90s. Anyway, the point actually is, it's not that they care about these events happening so much as if they're going to happen, they basically want taxes from these events, or they want to know where the flow of money is going so that they can also get their share. I lived in a world many years ago where I assumed we were to be protected, and or how do I say this? That money simply wasn't everything. But cash really does rule everything around us. Dollar bills, y'all, because it is really intense what's actually happening in the world. So as the years go on, we will see stable coins and digital currencies and transactions being tracked even more so than they currently are. You're not losing out on any extra level of privacy that you might already have that's already been gone since around the year 2001 or so. But I found this interesting because I like numbers. I like information like this. I like to know, it would be completely nonsensical to believe or to think that no cryptocurrency is being used in what might deem to be illicit transactions. However, we know that it's fiat and governments basically want their slice of pie. This is why you keep hearing about it and why they're trying to have global standards around stablecoins and central bank digital currencies, because for those of you who don't know, I think even India, just India alone, I think the government believes that they're missing out on billions of dollars of tax revenue. And as such, they have to make life far more complicated for everyone else as they move into this hyper digital future. We live in a very weird world. I know I say that all the time, but if you ever get a chance, don't fall down too much down the rabbit hole, even online, but more so just like sit and think about the world that we live in and all the stuff that's going on and just the movement of money, how much money people have, what they do with this money, how they accumulate more. There's a really, not that this pertains to anything, but it's more of a really weird video that my friend sent it to me on Instagram. And it was this woman, I think she lived in Dubai, and she was talking about like her monthly allowance. Like that's how she phrased it. It was someone else must have seen this. And she was talking about how much money she had and like what she did every single month. And she was talking about her nails getting done was around like 3,000, and she was buying bags worth around like 15,000. And then she mentioned something along the lines of like her monthly like housing budget. And it wasn't like for her rent. It was for like how much she had every month to buy new property. And it was $200K. And I was like, we live on completely different planets. Like the world like is literally like, people can't imagine. I mean, can you imagine having a budget every month of $200K? I heard someone say yes. Someone's like, yes, I can totally imagine that. Anyway, the world is fascinating and it's all being documented at this point. So I think that's going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you're all doing well, that you're all having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do sincerely hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. I'm going to give it middle of March. We're probably going to hear that Facebook is going to be integrating some kind of coin or doing something with crypto. That would also be great for the market, by the way. Yeah. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.